Hi, let's talk about the books I read in May. This video is coming very, very late. I had recorded a whole video about it, and when we went to edit it, my daughter does edit my videos for me because I am old and don't feel like learning how to, and she wants to do it. But when we went to edit it, it there was no sound. I must have forgotten to turn the microphone on or something. Who knows? I am not a technological person, so there were technological errors, and I am having to redo the video, and hopefully I'll be able to post it soon. But in May, I read 4 books. It was an okayish month for me. So we're gonna start with The Toy Box by Charlie Cox. A friend of mine read this book and loved it so much she immediately brought it to me to read it. So that's why I don't have a copy of it. It was her copy that I read. So the toy box is actually part of a series, and it's book two. I have not read book one yet. It is on my list, but we started with book two, and we follow Detective Alyssa Wyatt, and we do learn a little bit about book one from reading book two, some of her family secrets. So that kind of plays into book two. So if you're interested in it, I definitely would start with book one because book two gave away the big secret for book one. But she's a detective. She's married. She's happily married. It's the first book I've read with a female detective lead where she's happily married. And she has, I think the daughter is 18 and the son is like 12 or 13. And the daughter has a group of friends, like 4 friends, and a girl has gone missing already. A college girl has gone missing, and her mom is already investigating this. And then her daughter goes out with her friends. They're trying to cheer up one of the girlfriends who is having troubles with her boyfriend, and so she's very sad. And when they leave, they kind of argue, and so the girl, the friend, decides she wants to walk home. And then the next day they find out she's also missing. On the other end of the book, we see these missing girls, and then there's another one, she's like 12 or 13, that also goes missing. And so Detective Alyssa Wyatt connects the dots and realizes that they've all been taken by the same person, and it's kind of a trafficking ring. And she's trying to beat the clock and finding these girls because a dead body does turn up. You do get to see things from the girl's perspective a little bit. It's very dark. It's a mild dark, I guess you could say. But overall, it was a good read. I definitely enjoyed it, and I wish I had read book one first, but that's all right. I will still read it at some point. If you are a reader, you know our TBRs are always forever long. All right, and then the next book is When They Find Us by Jennifer Ruff. Jennifer Ruff has become like my top 5 authors. I love her books. So When They Find Us is the third book in the series of Victoria Heslin. Victoria Heslin is an FBI agent. She's in her early 30s, I believe, and she is a trust fund kid, so she actually doesn't have to work. And but she loves being in the FBI. She's very good at it, and she uses her money to and her connections to rescue dogs. And so she actually has, I think, 8 rescue dogs, and they're mostly greyhounds. And she gets it from her mother, who we find out in the first book has passed away. But it's really cool because her love of her dogs really plays into all of the books. So this was the third one of the series. And if you read the first two, the first one, she chases a serial killer. It's called the Numbers Killer. The second one, she uncovers a sex trafficking ring. So this third one, she has a hired, like an in-house hired. He's actually a vet, but he kind of becomes like the caretaker for her dogs because she's always out investigating. Sometimes she travels, and so his name is Ned. And so they decide that they're going to Spain because she goes to Spain once a year to rescue dogs, and she has a vet clinic there that treats, abandoned dogs and whatever. So she's taking him with her because he's going to volunteer at the vet clinic. In the flight, the plane crashes. It disappears off the radar and crashes, and they find themselves in the middle of nowhere, but like in the cold, like Arctic tundra, below freezing temperatures. And I can't remember, I think maybe like to 8 survivors. I honestly don't remember. It was a small number of survivors. So they start working together to survive as they wait for rescue. So it was really neat to see a different aspect of the series because she's technically not investigating anything. She's just trying to survive. And then you do see the angles from her partner and like the whole FBI agency trying to find them and figuring out what happened to this plane. And there is a secret as to what happened to the plane, but I don't want to reveal it. So because it doesn't come together until the end. But it was a really good book, and there's I believe 9 books by Jennifer Ruff in this series, and so I do plan to read the whole series. This was a third. Um, I'm just slowly getting to them all. I just recently finished another Jennifer Ruff book that was not part of this series. It's a standalone and it was amazing. She's a very good thriller writer. There's lots of twists and it's a really fun book to read. She's a great author. If you haven't discovered her yet, try one of her books. If you don't want to read a series, try to book The Last Seat. That's the one I just finished, which I'll talk about when I do my June review. But it was very, very good. Um, so then the next book I read was called Can You Find Her by Ganga Bharani. And I am so sorry if I butchered your name. So she actually reached out to me on my Instagram and asked me if I would read her book and leave a review, which I was so happy to do. And I'm so glad she reached out because this is not typically what I would read. It is a thriller, it is set in India. So it's really fun to read a book and see it from a different cultural perspective. Our lead detective is a female. I love when the detectives are female and they're like kick butt. I love it. And she was really, really good at her job. The deputies and stuff that worked underneath her were very respectful of her. This book starts with a young man that bursts into the police station in the middle of a storm, screaming and crying that his girlfriend's missing, and she's been missing, I think, for like 2 or 3 weeks. And then while she's getting all this information, these older parents walk in and they're crying and they're saying, our daughter's missing. She's been missing for a few days. And so she's like, okay, we have 2 missing girls. What are the chances? Oh, they go to the same college. What are the chances? And then it is towards the beginning, so I'm not spoiling anything. And the title does kind of give it away. Can you find her? Um, they realize it's the same girl. She just goes by 2 different names. And so slowly they start unveiling kind of a double life she's leading. But it's a quick paced read. I think I read it in less than a day. It was really fun and it was fun to see how India is. Like the traffic, the cops drive motorcycles because it's easier to weave in and out of traffic, all the rain. Like it was just really neat to learn some things about this culture. So yeah, I really enjoyed the book, and I would encourage you to read it. It's a small book. Like I said, it's a very quick read. She is very fast paced, which I appreciated because it does make it a lot easier to read. So I look forward to reading some more of her books. And then other book I read was called The Caretaker. My husband read this book first and recommended it. I am always on the hunt for a super scary book that will keep me up at night. That hasn't happened yet. But my husband asked me, "So what scares you?" And I'm like, "Apparently nothing, because none of these, I mean, they're books, but I want to be scared, and nothing has scared me so far. But this book definitely kind of stays with you." So the caretaker follows a young lady, and I am so sorry, I don't remember her name. I have read like 7 books this month, and I don't remember names very well. Trying to Macy. So Macy is 22 or 23 and she is her sister's caretaker, and that's not why the book is called this, but they're orphans. Their mother had died when they were younger, and then their father had died 2 or 3 years prior in an accident, and so she took over finishing raising her sister. So they live in this tiny little studio apartment. It's a dump. They can't afford much. Macy is very antisocial, and she even says that in the book. She's not good with people. And so she keeps getting fired, not because she's not good at her job, it's just she doesn't handle people well. And so she's desperate for money, she's desperate for a job. because she has to take care of her sister. There's a huge amount of responsibility on her shoulders. And so she sees an ad on Craigslist for somebody needing a caretaker for her husband. So she goes and to meet the older lady and meet the gentleman. And when she gets to the house, the old lady's like, I am so sorry. My husband passed away. I don't need a caretaker for him. I need somebody to take care of my house while I go on vacation. I want to see my grandchildren. So she was like, okay. And she agrees to it because the old lady offers $9,000 for a weekend. And she's like, I can't believe this. I'll do it. It's easy. But there are rules she has to follow to watching this house. And they're very specific rules, but they're not like anything grand. It's things like make sure from this time to that time the lights are turned off. Make sure the doors are locked throughout the night. Don't let anybody in. Things like that. And she's just like, okay. And the old lady tells her, you have to follow these rules specifically, or bad things will happen. The fate of the world depends on it, is what she tells her. And Macy's just kind of like, are you kidding me? That's dumb. And her sister pleads with her not to take the job, but she takes it anyways because it sounds easy enough and it's $9,000. So she goes and she takes care of the house, and things start happening. And she's not very good at following the rules, which it gets kind of annoying. But things start happening. And so throughout the book, you're wondering, is the fate of the world hanging on the fact that she's not turning off the lights? Like, what's happening here? And so I don't want to give too much away because when the book ends, you don't expect it to end this way. And it was quite interesting. So I'll say if you like suspense and scary, this one's for you. I didn't find it super scary, but my threshold is higher than others. Um, so yeah, it was really, really good. It definitely stays with you after you read it. And like I said, like my husband and I had many discussions over it. His friend read it as well, and we all had different feelings about the ending. So if you read this one, let me know what you think of the ending, please. So yeah, those are my main recommendations, and I will have I'll have June's recommendations soon. Hopefully, not at the end of July. June has been a good reading month for me, and I have lots of goodies to share with you guys. But that's it for May. And I hope you guys are reading lots of books. And if you read any books that are super scary that kept you up at night, please let me know. I'm always on the hunt. I have only read one book that was super scary. Yeah, only one. So I'm still on the hunt. So let me know. I hope you guys have a great rest of June, and I will see you soon.